Hello everyone, I'm Lee, I'm an intuitive, and every month I take the pulse on what might be showing up for us energetically, emotionally, and psychologically. Just a few of the themes coming up in April are an influx of light and what that will reveal. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries in a stormy collective, and the rising visibility of a new way of being on Earth. Stay tuned for all of the themes and the full explanation. Hi everyone, welcome to the April Energy Update. I have 8 themes that I have been given for this month, so I'll go through them each in turn. The first big theme is influx of light. And this influx of light energy that will be moving through April, particularly after the first week of April, is going to be illuminating joy and shadow in equal measure. So I think it's perfectly normal for you to feel like we're in an energetic washing machine right now. I think all of us feel that in some way. There's definitely high highs, challenging lows, a speed of everything that's moving through, and a lot of exhaustion. Many people are feeling emotionally or psychologically tired, but also a lot of physical exhaustion is accompanying this. And there are a couple of ways of looking at it. Sometimes it's because our bodies need to shut down and calibrate to what's going on and just take a rest. Other times it's that the energy is so strong that we are conserving. It wouldn't be good for us to be out in the world while these waves move through. So when we look at this first theme of the influx of light, of course, that tends to have a positive connotation to us. And it is true that the light is coming in to be supportive, but it can do both things depending on who you are and where you're at in your journey. And it can also do both things depending on the day. So an influx of light can really bring joy to the center of our life or our awareness. It can make us see the light, feel the light, have deep gratitude and presence in our lives. So it can literally lighten our load. So for some of you, this is going to be the case that you will have gone through some trying times, perhaps for many, many months. April might be a month where you feel like you can breathe. For others, it will be a bit more subtle. But if you pay attention and you're willing to be open to it, you should see that as you go through the month of April, you'll be able to tune in on pockets of light that are rising in the world and that want us to connect with them and they want to connect with us. It's a two-way street where energy is concerned. So this influx of light is going to illuminate joy, presence, gratitude. And for some of you, it's going to feel like this month is an exhale. And interestingly, I'm hearing, especially for those of you who can track 7 months of difficulty. So, and I know some of you are laughing now because you're going, yeah, try 5 years. But if you've been in that space since about September, October last year, this is going to be a month where whatever it is you've been moving through or letting go is going to move through you, and you're going to feel, I can just begin to open again. There's enough in the world and in the energy field that I can start to lean into it and open. But equally, an influx of light illuminates shadow in equal measure as joy. So for some of us, this could look like literally shining a light on some of our points of pain, some of our areas of healing. But if you look at this collectively and globally, one of the themes I spoke about in last month's update for March was us beginning to see corruption and what you might call very negative energies for life and humanity as we know it rising more to the surface. I mean, this has been ongoing for a while, but March, there was a message that we were going to see a lot more evidence of that. And so that continues through this period. And the influx of light really reveals all that is not of the light. So on a personal level, this can be the challenging gift of realizing something about yourself that you need to go, I need to clean that part of my personality up a little bit, or I need to look at why I'm behaving that way or why I'm triggered. Because these are intense times. So definitely you have to be mindful of, is this intensity coming from within me? Or is this intensity me just catching that wave of electrical energy that's making some people behave in very, very unconscious ways, very reactive ways? We'll come to boundaries a little further down. So, influx of light, illuminating joy and shadow in equal measure. Doesn't mean you will get both this month, but it means that's the energy weather to be mindful of in you and around you. The second theme, the active power of hope and its rising presence on earth. You know, I was having a conversation with a good friend recently about the power of hope, and how she was saying to me, you know, so often hope is seen as this fluffy thing or this disempowered thing, but actually hope is an incredible energy. It's a powerful energy. Hope is not wishing for something to be better or hoping someone else will save you. Hope is actually being able to feel into the light, the future that we can create, what comes next, which is particularly important when you're going through challenging stuff. By all means, you have to give yourself to the challenging stuff and whatever comes up, but you also have to remember, this too shall pass. There will be a new path for you. And this is very much a message for the collective. They were very adamant about this one. The active power of hope and its rising presence on earth. Some of you might be quite galvanized at the moment, or quite reassured to see some of the things that are coming out into public consciousness that were quite successfully hidden, some for many decades and some for just a few years. So the active power of hope is actually going to be something that will feed you. It can bring your heart back to life when you've just felt very heartbroken by what you've seen going on in the world, in your life. Its rising presence on earth is going to continue to be more felt. So remember, hope is something we can carry within us, and it's a very active presence that we can use to keep the light and the connection to spirit in us. It's not necessarily just an escapist idea or a fantasy that someone's going to rescue us. We're going to do everything that we need from inside this body and our spiritual connection. And the active power of hope is when we really remember that, when we really remember we're not in this alone, and anything you wish for in the world, there are millions and millions and millions of other people wishing for too. And if enough people wish for it, then an energy movement gets created that can go against some of the barriers we have right now, some of the issues within different parts of the world and the global system as a whole that would seek to impede human evolution, human consciousness. So there is this battle that we're in right now, and we've been in for many years, in terms of its visibility rising to the surface. But the active power of hope is going to shine through in many very evident ways in April. So look for it in the outside world and look for it in your inner world, particularly if you're someone who has felt that your journey's been more about bitterness or anger or resentment or fear or rage. You'll find that the active power of hope, bringing some other shades of feeling to the way that you're seeing the world and the situation we're in globally, is going to come through you in a more powerful way, but because of evidence, not just because of a wish or a hope, because of things you start to see, because of things you hear someone say. It will give you hope that there is a new future coming, and that's a theme that I will also talk about later on. The third theme is force versus grace. Force versus grace. Force versus grace is a choice that we are all making right now, collectively and individually. So an example of this would be, you know, when we try and force something to happen versus when we feel we want to have something happen and we have enough trust and surrender to go with the flow and we bring grace into the process, versus trying to force something or force somebody else into an agenda that serves you only or serves your group only and puts them into suffering. So we're definitely seeing force versus grace playing out globally in a huge way right now. There's a huge reckoning around all of that. But where it might show up for you is you might find that you're able to just have a little more grace from inside your heart than you've been able to have before. Doesn't mean you let go of your boundaries, doesn't mean you allow abusive behavior to come toward you, but it's more about creating what it is you're trying to create in your life. You don't need to force things as much as you used to. If you're clear about what you want to see happen, and you're clear about what you would like to move towards, and you hold an intention around that, but you also get really honest about your behaviors and your habits and your actions, and you go, oh, I've got this intention, but my behaviors keep going against it. I say I want to be more abundant in my life with resources, but every time someone says, you know, do you want to go for a coffee? I'm like, oh no, I can't spend two pounds on a coffee. I don't want to. That's very different to not being able to afford a coffee. That's a mindset of, oh no. I have a friend who, we had a great conversation recently. We were talking about them wasting money on a meal that they didn't enjoy. And I said, well, you didn't waste money. You didn't value what you paid for, but you put a wage into the pocket of the chef, the people who created the food, the people working in the restaurant, the people running the restaurant. You know, money circulates. So the reason I use that as an example, and money is a very emotionally charged area, so it's a tricky example for me to use, but what intentions are you calling in, and what level of behavior and action are you deepening your awareness of right now? Because for all of us, we all have different ways of seeing things, believing things about life that have to evolve as we do. We have to let go of old beliefs, old ideas, in order to become a more full and empowered version of ourselves. So force versus grace might be something that you're seeing play out in the world. You might notice some forceful, fearful behavior happening around you from someone else. You might catch it in yourself, and you might be able to trust a little more and have some patience, some surrender. So that theme is going to be in the air. The fourth theme this month is the danger and slow death of judgmental energy. Now, I had to ask for some clarity on this one, because when I got given this theme by my guides, I was like, well, sometimes we need to use our judgment, because our judgment helps steer us in the right direction, our discernment. And they said, yes, we're not talking about discernment or judgment that is critical thinking. We're talking about judgmental energy, where you are blaming someone else, rejecting someone else, canceling someone else, where you get into the black and whites and you don't leave much room for gray and nuance. And of course, we're seeing that right now with the dangers of things like cancel culture and the way that that kind of thing is handled, which is not coming from a higher consciousness place. But we're also seeing a real division and judgmental energy around human rights in so many different ways all around the world. So it's a very, very intense topic. So when they said the danger and slow death of judgmental energy, this is something they're asking us to see in the outside world, because we're in a time where anything that doesn't have heart consciousness within it will not survive. It may try and overthrow or control for a series of years, but it literally can't survive. Consciousness-wise, where the planet is going, that won't be allowed to survive. So we're in a very slow death of judgmental energy that we were all trained into. And I mean, I don't know about you, but judgment towards ourselves is such a disease for so many of us that we all inherited and we've had to work through layers of. So my guides, the Z's, always say that if you catch yourself judging yourself, know that you're stopping yourself and stopping your progress. So that's very different to reflecting and going, oh, I could do that better next time. Oh, I see what I did there. I'm going to do that slightly differently next time. But when you're judging yourself and being hard and attacking yourself, you're stopping your progress. They say, if you catch yourself judging yourself, that's fine, but also create another part of you that is just aware of the judgment and that loves you regardless of this aspect of you that wants to judge. So the danger of judgmental energy is we attack ourselves, we attack others, we don't leave room for nuance. And the slow death of judgmental energy is what we're seeing right now. I think we're still seeing a huge amount of people wanting to stay in that war mentality and push for judgmental energy and take their sides against, because that's so woven into us as a collective. It's going to take time for that to fade out. But we're seeing a lot of brilliant voices and considered conversations beginning to increasingly emerge around what is the right way for us as a society to behave around these issues. I know there are certain things we, at this moment in time, don't quite have control over, although that is set to change in the coming decades as systems start to lose some of the stranglehold and power that they've had. So we're in a time of reform, but the danger and slow death of judgmental energy is going to be something that you might see or notice in yourself or in your immediate group as you go through April. So just be a little more fine-tuned to how judgment really is very much of the old world. Judgmental energy is very much old density. So if you catch it coming through yourself, allow yourself to let it go, allow yourself to be aware of it. Don't beat yourself up that you notice it. Just notice it's in you and ask, where did this come from? Why do I feel the need to defend? Why do I feel the need to attack? And equally, if you see that in the outside world, ask yourself, why does this person need to annihilate this person? Or why does this person think this whole group should be annihilated? That's judgmental energy. So just on a very big scale. Okay, theme number 5, allowing the messages we need to hear and see to arrive in us and around us. Allowing the messages we need to hear and see to arrive in us and around us. So I'm often asked about channeling. They say, oh, you're a channeler and I don't hear my guides. And I believe we're all channeling. We're all receiving information. We all just maybe get it in slightly different ways. And we are at a time in history where we are remembering that we're allowed to bring our intuition back. We're allowed to reclaim that part of who we are that has been edited out of our history, and we have been steered away from it through training and teaching. So allowing the messages we need to hear and see to arrive in us is probably something that most of those of you who tune into me are aware of, whether it's your intuition, whether it's a vision that you're having, whether it's some clarity or your guides. That part of it you might be a little more accustomed to, or even if you don't feel you're experiencing it as much as you want to, you probably wouldn't be watching someone like me if you weren't already aligned with it, right? But the bigger part of this theme is the messages we need to hear and see to arrive around us. Messages are everywhere. Messengers are everywhere. Angels are everywhere. So keep your eyes and heart open this month, and your ears, and see what can come to you that you might need to pay attention to. I think it's very easy for us to, especially if we're overwhelmed, and especially with our technology right now, and the phones and all of the information that many of us are receiving technologically, for us to kind of go in to our own little bubble. We are our own little algorithm, selecting what suits our algorithm. But this is a really important month to kind of just pay attention to what's going on around you. You'll be amazed how intuition and spirit will be speaking through people, stories, events in the world. And if you really, really pay attention, you'll start to notice how they're lining up with things that you're experiencing. Oh, wow, I was just thinking about this the other day, and now I'm seeing it playing out in that country. You were connected to the energy. Or equally, I have been asking for help, and I can't believe it. My friend has just come and said to me that her friend is giving away exactly the thing I need. It's actually time for us to re-engage with the outside world. The messages that many of us, understandably, particularly over the last 3 years, have gone within a bit more, and that has been perfect. But now there is more trust and more flow in the outward energy between people, that if you have been a little bit like this or a little bit like this, it's time to open up again. And of course, have your downtime, have your introvert time. Your introvert needs you, as a beautiful angel at one of my workshops once gave me on a card. And it was so true. I was like, oh yeah, I need more introvert time. We need that. But we also need to know when we've gone too much like this, or too much like this only. It's important to kind of come out into the world again and share our hearts, share our truth, share our energy, and to pay attention to the angelic messages and the help and the support that might be out here for us that we're missing. Maybe because we're on our phone or because we're in a lock, okay? So for any of you that resonates with, and particularly any of you that feel slightly uncomfortable about what I just said, you're probably the people that message is for. If you are deeply uncomfortable about what I just said and you're no way, trust yourself. It's clearly not for you and you clearly need to stay like this right now. But that's an important message and it's kind of different to what they normally say. So that tells me that the outside world and the connectivity between us in the outside world is coming back online in a bigger way than it's been for the last few years. Okay. Theme number 6, boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Their words, not mine. In a stormy collective. I mean, I know I have to talk about boundaries a lot, whether it's through these videos I make every month for the energy updates, or whether it's in my teaching or my workshops. And I have also, like many of you, been a student of boundaries all my life. The gift of boundaries. You know, how knowing our boundary in any moment allows us to be open. Because we have to have boundaries. It's like what I just showed you with the introvert time. If we don't have introvert time and we're just extrovert and out there all the time, we start to lose our center. Just like if we're only like this the whole time, we start to lose our openness and our ability to connect outside ourselves. So boundaries, boundaries, boundaries in a stormy collective is just a reminder. And I mean, I could say this any month, but for some reason they want it heard in April. Emotional storms right now, and a lot of fire. I talked about that in March. It was already in the room in March. So just know what your boundaries are. It's okay to cancel the thing that you said you were going to do. It's okay to suddenly at the last minute realize you're not quite capable of doing that thing you promised. Or it's also okay to, decide that you want to have boundary conversations in a month like this where this theme is up. It might be a time for you to be active with your boundaries rather than pulling back. You might be more than ever capable of having slightly uncomfortable conversations about boundaries. And the thing about boundaries is it's always good to, as much as we can, communicate them ahead. I have a friend who's been a great teacher of that to me. If I go visit her, she kind of sets the plan out ahead of time. She goes, well, I'm going to be available this time, I'm not going to be available that time. First time I experienced that with her about 6 years ago, I was like, this is great because now I know exactly where I stand. And so, this is a big theme. It's an ongoing theme, and it's a really important theme, especially if you're energetically sensitive. What can you tolerate today and what can you not tolerate today? And it depersonalizes it when you make it about you. You don't have to point the finger angrily at your angry uncle. You just have to know, oh, my boundary around my angry uncle, because I can't change him, is I'm just going to choose not to be around him and perhaps have to communicate that. And perhaps he doesn't like what I communicate, but I don't like being on the receiving end of his anger. It's too much for me. So if he can't fully understand that, that's okay. I'll just make myself scarce. So boundaries is going to be a big one this month. Okay, last 2 themes are awakening the visibility of next level human consciousness. Revelations was a theme in March, and things rising to the surface that perhaps have been hidden or concealed, but are in our way. Like they are in our way of the next level of human consciousness. They would be regressive. They would be dragging us backwards. So in tandem with these things coming to the surface, awakening the visibility of next level human consciousness. This means we're going to start to, if you aren't already, because I'm definitely already seeing this, see more things that give us that active hope for the future. Oh, wow, they're creating that. Oh, wow, the way they communicated about that is different to the way I've heard anybody speak about it, and that feels really good. oh, something just collapsed over here, but this group are creating a more ethical version of it over here. Okay, so awakening the visibility of next level human consciousness. The Z's have been saying this for years, that as we go through 2023 and 2024, even though we're seeing this kind of battle between control and evolution, that we're going to keep seeing things that, if we're paying attention, are birthing ready for the next phase of humanity. And so it's important to let yourself see that. And especially if you're focused mainly on what we're losing, it's like if you're in grief for a year about the loss of a loved one, you will get very, very depressed and disconnected if you stay in that for 3 years. But if, when the natural phase of grief, maybe it's a year that you need at first, starts to let the light in again, you start to see love and connection, and you start to slowly move toward it. That, to me, is what this awakening the visibility of next level human consciousness is about. Us seeing the seeds that others are planting that give us active hope for the future, active hope that we can create something different. And finally, and this is in tandem, Visionaries and ChangeMakers on supercharge mode. You know, I've been doing these energy updates now for actually 11 years, these videos, and I'm sure I've seen this theme before over the years. There are certain periods where Visionaries and ChangeMakers get really energized and activated. And so when I saw that theme literally come through the typing onto my page, I was like, oh, interesting. And I think it's probably to do with the light, awakening the visibility of next level human consciousness, and the active hope. Because Visionaries and ChangeMakers do really well when they aren't just fighting an uphill battle. When they start to see others doing things, there's a galvanizing collective energy. So if you're a visionary or a change maker, you may already be on supercharge mode because you could feel this coming in April, but you'll find that your purpose and your drive and your ability to let things flow with grace versus force will really be able to move into this month. So those are the themes for this month. I hope you take your self-care very seriously this month. As the Z's, my guides, always say, self-care is not a luxury. And I have some news I'm excited about. I haven't done a live event in person since March 2020. That was the last one I did. And I'm doing one on July 26th. And I'm also doing it in a country I have never brought a workshop to. So I will be in Dublin, Ireland on July 26th for an evening event with Positive Life. Their website is positivelife.ie. They're hosting me. I'm thrilled. I can't wait. I will be channeling. I will be speaking to those of you in the room. And yes, and I really hope this is the first of many live events. But that's the one event we have on the calendar for this year at the moment. Dublin, July 26th. If you can be there, I would love to see you. And I can't believe it's taken me this long to come and do an event in Ireland. My Empaths and Narcissists course, the title of the course is A Power Dynamic and How to Recover from It. So it really focuses on those of us who have found ourselves in those very toxic and very difficult relationship dynamics with people. That is still running, and we will leave registration open for a couple more weeks and then it will close. I'm doing a live Q&A on April 24th. So as with the Dublin event, check the links beneath this video. Or in the show notes, you can go to my website, leeharrisenergy.com, to find details on the Empaths Narcissist course. If it feels like it resonates for you, we'd love to have you join us. And like I said, I'm doing a live Q&A on April 24th. This month, in my Portal members community, the MP3 recording that I've created is called, appropriately I guess, Awaken the Power of Your Heart. Just in time for this light and heart energy, April energy that we're seeing coming in. So I've been doing a series of medicine mantras, musical medicine mantras over the last few months. And each month I put them into my members community, the Portal. You can also get them in my store separately, but Portal members receive that recording and the musical mantra that can really help you embody the energy of the power of your heart. So the affirmation in the mantra is, I awaken my heart to love. And that came from the Z's, and we created this musical journey, and I give you an energy guide of how you can really work with any blocks around your heart energy and what you might want to just be mindful of and aware of and shift in yourself. So that's available in my store, but if you're a Portal member, you get that as part of all of the things you get inside the Portal. The Portal's my monthly members community where you get to go deep into this work that I do, which is helping you learn more about your intuition, become more energetically aware. There is a really strong healing component to so many of the elements in the Portal. Most of them come from me, but not all of them. I am thrilled to bring Stephen Washington in with his Qigong body medicine every month, exclusively for Portal members. We also have this incredible whole section called The Portal Presents, where every month I commission a brilliant teacher or healer or artist to give a class to the group that is designed exclusively for Portal members. So if you want a place where you can feel both supported but also educated and expand your life, the Portal is the place to really get to work with me. And I do a live broadcast every month, and I take your questions live too. So check out the Portal, and we'd love to see you if it resonates this month. And in the meantime, everybody, take good care of yourselves. Lots of love. And for those of you it's relevant for, happy Easter. For those of us who are sensitive, intuitive, or walking a spiritual path, it is our practices and the support that we have in our life that often is the key to how well we can walk through life. 9 years ago, I created the Portal to be an answer to that need for members of my community who wanted to go more in depth with my work. And while my work is still very much a centerpiece of the Portal, we have now added other teachers, other voices, other offerings, so that the Portal can become a well-rounded place for you to receive nourishment and be uplifted, shifted, and supported every single month. Here is a look at some of the offerings that you receive every month as a Portal member. Once a month, I do a 90-minute live video broadcast. Don't worry if you can't be there live, everything in the Portal is provided to you as a replay. But doing it live is a chance for me to be with you as a community. And in that broadcast, I channel, I speak about the energies of the month and expand on my monthly energy update, and also take some community questions. Every month you will also receive an MP3, and the MP3 will either be a channeled message from my guides, the Z's, set to original music from Davor Bozik, or it will be an energy alchemy meditation or some other energy teaching. These will be put into your members' library, and you will have access to them to stream and download. We also give you access to a classics library, where we take 8 classic recordings from recent years so that you can listen to more. Qigong and wellness teacher Stephen Washington gives you an exclusive Qigong sequence every single month. It's called the Body Energy Update, and he takes the themes from my monthly energy updates on YouTube and creates a movement sequence for you designed to support you and your process as we go through each month. Stephen is also a wonderful meditation teacher, and so you will have access to a library of short, digestible meditations from him. As soon as you join, you will also get access to our bonus Intuitive Power Workshop. This was a tour that we took to several different countries a couple of years ago, and we had it professionally filmed. So you will be able to watch a 4.5-hour video workshop where both myself and Stephen teach you about accessing and owning your intuition in a deeper way. And to round all of this out, we have special member discounts on courses of mine. We also have special music playlists each month. One set of songs designed to help soothe you, and one set of songs designed to get you moving. And last year, we brought to the Portal something I have wanted to do for a very long time, the Portal Presents. It's where I get to invite some incredible teachers, creatives, healers, musicians into the Portal, and every month we spotlight one of them where they deliver an on-camera teaching specifically for our Portal members. It's a beautiful new feature. We have had some incredible people coming in, and we've got some amazing people lined up for the next year. And the final aspect of the portal is mine and my team's favorite. It's the community energy. So as well as having a private members forum inside the portal for those of you who aren't on social media, we also have a private moderated Facebook group exclusively for portal members. This is where so many members get to share what they're experiencing, things they're learning, people they're enjoying, and essentially connecting you with people from all over the world who are focused on similar interests to you. My aim with the portal has always been to offer you as much value for your membership as possible, and I feel like in the last year or so we have really been able to maximize that. So we look forward to welcoming you to the portal, and we hope it is a place that can nourish your mind, your body, and your soul. Big love.